cut that out. Edit that out. I think COVID changed everything. That was, you can draw the line right at COVID because we all went remote then. Everybody.
Forced to go remote.
Forced to go remote.
That really is incredible. I didn't even know that.
Welcome. Today we are honored with the one, the only Rick Meadow, the former director of mass torts at the Lanier law firm and the current managing partner of the Meadow law firm. He is a legend in this space, very well known. If you go anywhere with Rick, you get stopped constantly by other lawyers who look to talk to him, and a person who we have the pleasure of calling a friend. Welcome. Thanks for coming. So we want to get a quick update. Every time I looked on LinkedIn, there's another new hire at the Meadow law firm. You guys are growing leaps and bounds. What's up with the Meadow law firm, and what's the new kind of news for you guys?
Well, first, the real honor is me being with you guys.
Thank you very much.
I've known you a long time, and you guys are legends in the field. So don't lay all the praise on me. You deserve as much praise as I do.
Thank you very much.
And thank you for having me. I much appreciate it. The Meadow law firm came out of an idea that Mark Lanier and I had, where we were going to open this ABS, ABS meaning alternative business structure law firm, where the goal was to get legal services out to the underserved communities. And that was the original idea. And it was going to be just a source of cases to work up with Lanier. Since that time, it's grown into its own entity, its own law firm. I have almost 10 people at the firm now, and we're doing a number of different litigations, including sex abuse, Depo-Provera, AFFF, video game addiction. We're doing all the big ones, whether in-house or with co-counsel with other people. And yes, we have been hiring. So it's been a good journey.
If you are currently unhappy with your current employer, please talk to Rick. He is open to resumes. Your office is based in Scottsdale? Phoenix. So you guys you mentioned before at the beginning, the original plan was to start an ABS with Mark, but you are officially an ABS as the Meadow law firm today, correct?
Absolutely, yes.
Gotcha. So with the growth today, where do you see the firm going moving forward? I know you said you're at 10 employees now. Is your plan to continue to grow your in-house litigation team and work as a hybrid of sending stuff out, working stuff in? What's kind of the growth plan here? Because you went from 0 to 10 pretty quick, and I foresee the growth continuing to happen.
The growth is continuing to happen. We want to make this our litigators are all women. And the idea was to make it a female-based or women-based law firm. And we have lawyers there, Julia Gordon, who's the daughter of my old trial partner at Whites and Luxembourg, Rob Gordon. We have Ashley Crowell, who's Jeff Huff's daughter. We have another lawyer starting in October, another woman, and then Kyle Nenninger, who's my business partner, his daughter just finished her first year of law school, and she's going to join the firm after she graduates.
When you look at your heritage, right, coming from Whites to Lanier, two very different law firms, but Lanier, for those of you that don't know, is also a women-focused law firm. You look at the managing director, managing partner,
Dara
Hager. You've got Rebecca, who took over your role as director of mass torts. She's doing an excellent job. You've got Dwana, who oversees the intake department.
Rachel Lanier, Sarah Lanier, all on the trial team now.
Michelle. We can go down the list of notable women who you have gotten the pleasure of working with. When you look at Mark Lanier and what he does for our legal community, obviously he has his trial academy, teaches people how to actually lawyer better, but you learned other things from him as well, such as how to run an organization, how to build a law firm, and bring on great people, regardless of if they're men, women, what have you.
Well, we opened Lanier, New York in 2004, and we grew it quickly to 3 floors within 2 years, and we went from 7 cases to 7,000 in 3 years. Yeah, it was, and that was when Vioxx was withdrawn from the market. So, yeah, Mark and I grew that from, he was a Houston-based firm to a national firm, a true national presence, and obviously built on his talents. But we were a good Butch Cassidy and Sundance team. And we continue to
Which
be.
one are you, Butch Cassidy or the Sundance Kid?
Whichever one he's not.
That is fair. That is fair.
Yeah, I think it was like Batman and Robin. I'd be Robin. And now I'm becoming my own Batman in Arizona.
It really is great. It's great to see, right? The success that you've had throughout your entire career, your progression from White's to Lanier and now to doing your own thing while still being affiliated with Mark and his organization.
Yeah, it's the best of both worlds for me. And Mark is the best trial lawyer I've ever worked with, and a dear friend. So I get to work with a dear friend, a great trial lawyer, but doing it on my own firm, with my own firm. So that's great.
I still remember you telling me the story of, I think, I don't want to lead the witness, but like one of the best gifts that Mark's ever gotten you.
The seat from Yankee Stadium.
That was one of them. Or did he give you like an authentic Torah?
No, I gave that to him.
You gave that to him. That's what it was.
I gave that to him. Yeah, we started these, I don't want to say extravagant, but really thoughtful birthday gifts a ways back. And I hadn't intended for it to get like that, but I got Mark, I forget which birthday, a map of Paul's journeys through Palestine, the Apostle Paul. And I sent it to Mark, and Mark calls, "Oh my God, you've now raised the bar of gift giving to another level."
Nuclear arms race here.
Exactly. And about a week later, because our birthdays are a week apart, this huge box comes to the office. And my receptionist wheels it in, and she said, "What's this?" I said, "I don't know what it is, but I know who it's from." And I opened it up, and it was from Mark, and it was a seat from Yankee Stadium, the old Yankee Stadium, because I'm a diehard Yankee fan. So
that's actually how we met, right? I think we were at AAJ, first post-COVID A conference.
No, it was current COVID.
It was during COVID. Oh, because they did shut Vegas down again after that.
It was like the first reopening of Vegas during COVID, and then after it shut down again after that.
Yep. I remember conversing with you about New York, because I'm a native New Yorker and being a Yankee fan myself. There was good memories. I love your office and how adorned it is with all the sports memorabilia.
It is now adorned in Phoenix. Yeah, they had like the velvet ropes in front of my office and only let people in at certain times. So I have, that started as kind of like a hobby, and now it's a passion. You should see some of the latest stuff I have.
What have you gotten recently?
A piece of the bat that Babe Ruth used.
What?
Wow.
How did you come across that?
I won that in a charity auction.
Was it a splintered bat?
I'm not sure. I mean, they claim it's a piece of his bat, so and they have the letter of authenticity, so I'm okay with that. I got a Muhammad Ali signed picture when he beat Sonny Liston. I got a bunch of other stuff, so it's nice, and the whole office is now adorned. It looks like a sports memorabilia store.
Talking about the legal space for a minute, the mass tort world absolutely has evolved. For many, many reasons, the mass tort world has evolved over the past few years. Lawyers in this space consider it, on a downtrend because there really hasn't been that much going on. I think if you look back at sort of the peak of pharma litigation of maybe a decade or so ago, when really everybody was getting into it, and MTMP was really a big thing. Now that it's shifted, right? It used to be very heavy pharma related, but you just spoke to us about some of the case types that you're taking, right? Video game addiction. You've got firms like Lanier that are looking at social media addiction cases. There's been this shift from pharmaceutical, medical device, not completely away, because Depo-Provera obviously is still there, and there's Gardasil, and you've got all the drugs that are still causing definite issues. But can you talk a little bit about how that shift has occurred from heavy pharmaceutical into now opening the world of mass tort litigation to non-pharmaceutical case types?
Well, I think the firms have looked at what's impacting society the most. Mm-hmm. And if you have kids, you know that your kids never leave their screens. Mm-hmm. We got involved in the video game addiction. I researched it, but I walked in on my son one night over summer. It's like 2:00 in the morning, and he was playing Call of Duty. I said, "Who are you playing with?" He said, "My new friend in London." And I said, "You don't have a friend in London."
It's a red flag.
It's a total red flag. So And I spoke to him about it. I said, you can't do that. Why? He's a nice guy. I said, you don't know anything about him. So you have, the addiction, to stay up late, play the games, ignore social norms, get violent if they take away the games. And it spoke to me that this is going to be a problem in our society. So we got involved in the video game litigation, and one of our experts came in to give us a tutorial, and he showed a picture of a little video of a baby who was playing with a phone, 6 or 8 month old baby. He took the phone away, and the baby got hysterical, crying, throwing a fit. They handed him the phone back, stopped crying. So that you start with your kids very young. You want to keep them busy at a restaurant, you give them a screen. Keep them busy in the car, you give them a screen. But what the manufacturers, developers have learned is that you can addict these kids with the in-app purchases. It's the dopamine rush.
It's a drug like anything else.
It's a drug. And I didn't realize it. And my son's the prime example. When we were moving and we had to unplug his computer, he was freaking out that he was going to lose the progress in his games. And literally was almost in tears. I can't lose my progress. So that spoke to me like there's something going on here other than enjoying the games. They've addicted our youth. So we started the video game addiction. We've since tailored our criteria. We don't take over, I think, 15 years old, because the adults who are still addicted, they don't want to get off the games. So those norms, like a hair relaxer, it affects a certain population. The sex abuse is the troubled youth who go to these facilities. So we've turned our attention to other wrongs that affect society. The drug companies are still going to do wrong things, but we've kind of switched focus as, the lack of pharmaceutical litigation, or, there hasn't been a really good one for a while.
The video game addiction stuff is super interesting to me because as a person who's of legal age to gamble and participates every once in a while for fun, I remember when I was younger, like playing like a game on my iPhone, and it was like, oh, you died, or you can buy more lives. And I'm like, whoop. And I'm like, oh man, they're just turning this into a cash register.
Cash cow. Yeah. The amount of revenue, it's $1 trillion industry.
If you're a kid, you're just hitting them. The amount of people that I know that are parents who like had kids that were playing games that randomly got like huge bills on like their Apple account is like a very well-known thing until they start putting some safeguards into it from a spend perspective.
There's very little safeguards right now. We have kids who barricade themselves in their room so the parents can't get in. We had one kid who ordered a dining room table through Amazon, put it in his room so he could eat all his meals there. They play with diapers on so they don't have to get up. We've had a number of attempted suicides when the parents took away the devices. We've had some successful suicides. I forget which game it is. I think it might be Minecraft, where you can die and come back. The mom went into her son's room and he said, I want to be just like Minecraft. And he killed himself in front of his mother. He thought he was going to come back. So that's our most tragic one, but there's some horror stories in there. Knife fights with their siblings. It's truly an affliction on society.
Yeah, it is crazy.
Yeah, crazy. Let's shift away and go a little bit more lighthearted. I know that you are a big philanthropist, right? You support an organization in Guatemala. Right? You want to just tell us a little bit about how you got involved in that and its effect on your personal life?
Sure. Most of the people in the industry know that my son's adopted from Guatemala. He's almost 18. And the reason we picked Guatemala is the Lanier firm went down to Guatemala every year for our retreat. And my ex-wife and I, she was unable to have a baby. So we decided we were going to adopt from Guatemala. And about 6 years after we adopted Josh, Mark and Becky set up a foundation called Guatemala Sana. And it's to bring education and medical resources to underprivileged communities in Guatemala. And they asked me to be a part of it. And I immediately said yes, because Guatemala means a ton to me. So this trial academy, which started 10 years ago, was to benefit Guatemala Sana. And I'm on the board. I do auctions for them, and we raise money.
Tour.
The golf tour.
Right.
Yeah, all the money goes to Guatemala Sana. All the money from the trial academy goes to Guatemala Sana.
I don't know if everybody knows that, right?
I don't think a lot of people know that.
Mark he says it in the beginning, he says it at the end, but most people, don't realize the Lanier Law Firm doesn't make a dime from the trial academy. It's all donated to Guatemala Sana. This conference that we're at now pays for an entire year of operations for Sana.
That's incredible. That really is incredible. I didn't even know that. I knew that there was an affiliation. I thought, maybe there the money from the golf tournament that happens in the Monday of the conference, maybe that's donated. But to hear that, I think there is a side to our industry that goes invisible, right? And the things that happen in personal lives are very
we are
impactful.
our own worst advocates. Trial lawyers, we can advocate on behalf of everybody
All the
except
clients.
ourselves.
Yeah, you fight super hard for all your clients, but not for yourselves at all times.
Exactly. And trial lawyers are the last line of defense. If you go all the way back with flammable pajamas, the Ford Pinto, asbestos, it's the trial lawyers that were the last line of defense. And we're proud to do that.
You're like checks and balance system. It's definitely a check and balance
Absolutely.
to the overreach of corporations most of the time.
Absolutely.
So one of the things we were talking about before, we're at the Lanier Trial Academy now. The hot topic, we were talking about it earlier, has been AI and legal. You've been a lawyer for a long time. This is new to you. What are your thoughts on it? What are your takeaways? And
I'm actually blown away. I mean, we did a section on it. Mark did a section on it last year, and I started using AI after that session. Claude is his favorite. And what I was able to do over the past year with Claude is incredible. And now we learned yesterday, he's kicked it up a notch, and he's calling it his 24/7 associate.
What are some of the things that you've been able to accomplish that you don't think you would have been able to do without it?
It can give you position, it can give you research on an industry. Like, tell me all about the video gaming industry. How far back does it go? I have an arbitration coming up. Please prepare, a timeline for the arbitration. You plug in all the things, and you see the little Claude thing going around. Next thing you know, you have that. You got to double check everything. Because
I learned that one a while.
Yeah, that one lawyer who, submitted an AI brief, and the AI made up the cases.
They get blown up in the news when those come out.
Yeah, I mean, you got to be careful and use it, but it can save time. Analyzing medical records, putting medical records in a chronology, doing research on certain industries. It's changed the way you look at practicing law.
Yeah, we've seen, as a person who comes to a lot of the conferences, we've seen an explosion of new companies coming in the space in the AI side, specifically around medical records, document generation, a lot of the manual labor that required a person to sit down and do it. To streamline those processes with AI. We see the industry shifting on that because we're able to get information faster, cheaper, and potentially better than before on a lot of that manual labor that we had armies of people having to do before.
Yeah. Last year, I think we had one AI sponsor, maybe 3 years ago, we had none. And now there's probably 6 or 8 downstairs.
It's okay. There's one vendor, I forgot who they were. They had a sign at their booth that just said not an AI company.
Yeah, okay. I did see that. I did see that. But now courts are taking notice of it too, and they're asking if AI was used in a brief or not. So,
Didn't think about that.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Do you have any tips for new lawyers starting to use it, of like what they should start using it for first, or maybe some gotchas, or maybe where to get information on it?
Check every citation that AI puts out, because that's the first thing. That one lawyer who got in trouble, AI made up case citations, made up cases. The judge scolded him, fined him, sanctioned him, and told him to resubmit a brief, and he did it again. So don't do that. That would be one thing. Don't, repeat your mistakes, but, check the work. If the work is normally really good, but you can't risk your license by submitting false stuff to a court. So double check all the citations and that sort of stuff.
Does your malpractice insurance cover AI?
That's an excellent question. And
That's your policy cover that.
I need to check on that. That's a great question. That's a great question. There's probably going to be malpractice lawyers taking advantage of that who will sue lawyers for legal malpractice because they used AI and didn't check it. So I got to look at that.
You heard it here first.
Yeah. A new area of law.
Hey, it's like anything else. We always get hit up by our insurance provider. They're always having to add new coverage for some new thing that we didn't think existed before.
Exactly.
To cover yourself.
Anti-terrorism coverage, cybersecurity coverage.
Cybersecurity is a big one.
Cyber is huge. It's huge. Yep.
For the attorneys who are here at the Trial Academy, beyond just learning what Mark has to say and how he goes about doing things, what do you think is the benefit of attending a conference like this and some of the takeaways that just generally people can take away from a conference?
This conference is unique, more so than any other one. Mark speaks for 2.5 days. It's just him. He is the best trial lawyer that I've ever seen. So he gives you the tips and trade in his trade, but you can carry that beyond because the art of communication, which he teaches, he's the best communicator as well. So I've learned in the 20 plus years I've been with him, I'm a much better communicator. I'm a much better taking complex theories or complex set of facts, making it easy to understand, because the jurors are everyday people. You don't have to talk to a juror at this level, talk to at their level or our level, make it, be a person. So you learn that. You learn the psychology behind jury selection or how to present a case to a jury. And Mark, like he says, he opens his vault, and it's really a great opportunity for growing lawyers and experienced lawyers to get better.
I walked in on the session at the end of the day yesterday where he was explaining how to properly write on a piece of paper and draw stick figures to get a point or a story across the correct way. And I was walking by and I just stopped and I couldn't stop watching. And I was like, this is so simple, but so effective for just communicating a point and keeping someone's attention and getting it across by using a piece of paper and a projector to write information.
It's amazing. I was on a plane with Mark one time, and he had what I thought was a coloring book, and it was an instruction book on how to draw.
He pulled it up. He had two, and he pulled it up, and he was like, "Look, this is how you draw a happy stick figure and a sad stick figure."
Yep, and it's down all the way to the type of cardstock you use and the type of markers that you use and folders and all that. So you learn really the nuts and bolts of how to try a case and what to use to try it and get your best results.
Yeah, the way that he teaches you how to communicate verbally, written, his PowerPoint tutorials, it's amazing. I love his prop table that he has, where he just grabs something and has it at his disposal throughout the course of the week. So very beneficial conference. But I think people come to these things to learn, but they also come to network.
There's 1,000 lawyers here.
No better networker in this industry than Rick Meadow.
Yes.
Thank you.
How did that happen?
It's hard to go anywhere with Rick because you get stopped constantly.
Correct.
If you have a reservation you have to get to, you better leave early.
Oh, that's nice.
How did that happen? Right? How did you become the lawyer that every lawyer knows?
Wow. I have never thought about that. I've been practicing 40 years now, and I still have friends from my first job. So I've really never burned a bridge. And I treat lawyers and, fellow vendors, whoever it is, like I want to be treated. If you're a nice guy and you go out of your way to make sure that you're being fair and equitable and nice, it just comes back. It's a pay it forward thing. And, I was a bartender for 10 years. So
in New York?
In New York and New Jersey.
Oh, yeah.
So
learn some life skills there.
You to learn life skills. I was a shy, really reserved guy. And then I started tending bar when I was 18 or 19. And then I blossomed into who I am now. But I enjoy the people I work with. I enjoy what I do. And that shows as well. And I never forget a face or a name. So,
yeah. So do you have any advice, for example, for new lawyers coming in the space, building their network, over your 40 years, like I think you touched on some stuff, some advice you have for them to build their network. There is a lot of, let's say, like lone wolves out there in the PI space and the law firm. It's them against the world, and they do burn a lot of bridges. But what are some other lessons you've learned or some advice you have for people coming up?
Show up. 90% of life is showing up, like Woody Allen says. So come to these conferences, go to the functions, go to AHA, join AHA, join your local bar associations. Just get out there, show your face, and network, and it all starts coming around.
This really is a lesson in karma, right? Do right by others, other things good. Good things will happen.
Exactly right. I mean, I remember being on stage, and I think it was Harlan Skillinger asked me, how do you protect the Lanier brand? I said, that's easy. It really doesn't need protection. If you treat everybody the right way, you don't have to protect it. You look out for it, but you don't necessarily have to do it. It's different in other places.
I would say one of the things about the Lanier law firm is everyone at the firm embodies the core values of Mark Lanier, and it's very much in the DNA. So every person that's walking around, it's not really a liability. You know that they're spreading that message and that brand pretty consistently. I don't see that across all organizations, but that is part of the secret sauce. That
without question.
You see a Lanier law firm employee, they share the exact same core values as Mark Lanier.
Well, somebody once asked me, how do you hire somebody? What do you look for, whether it's at Lanier or Meadow? And I said, that's easy. Since we're a litigation firm, when you're in court and the court calls out Meadow law firm or Lanier law firm, you want to be very proud of who stands up and says here. And if you're hesitating on that person, they don't belong, right? I mean, you want to be proud of, who you're working with, and they share your values. And as a plaintiff lawyer doing this type of work, we're doing it to better society or better somebody's life. So that makes it, even more attractive.
Yeah, absolutely. Mark and I have a saying that we tell our team that we only have A players in our team. That's it. Because if we don't have A players, if you have B players, if they're okay, if they can just do the job, they will bring C players. Only A players bring A players, B players bring C players, and C players bring your company down.
Exactly right.
When I interview people, I do most of the recruiting for all of our hires. I've hired every person. They come through me first. And when I talk to them in the initial interview, I feel them out for like, do I actually want to spend time with this person and work with them every day? But then I talk to them about my core values. I was like, we have 3 core values or a couple core values. This changes when I talk to them in the messaging. But like number 1 core value is you have to be a kind person. I was like, if you're an asshole, you're gone.
Right.
And that's like initial sniff test. Number 2 is you need to help everyone around you whenever they need help. So give more than you take. And then 3, work incredibly hard.
It's like visiting somebody's house. Leave it in better condition than when you got there.
It's very simple. When we first started hiring and growing our teams, this is a lesson we had to learn because sometimes when you have smaller teams, you're just growing, you kind of just need that person in that role and you settle for that hire right away. And then as you grow and you realize you have more options, I quickly realized I was like, a bad person that does not share the core values could spoil the rest.
It becomes
very quickly. So maybe you have a 0 tolerance policy. If you are not a nice person, you are mean or are not following the core values, you're gone. It's like no questions asked on that one.
Harley Nixon, who used to be the CFO at Lanier and head of human resources, her gauge or her what's the word I'm looking for? The warning
barometer.
Well, if somebody's name comes up regularly, it's not a good thing. And then you flag that person and they're gone because they're not sharing the same values.
As we look at the evolution of the plaintiff's law space, we've gone from everything being done manually, in person, with paper, minimal technology, to an era that Mark and I talk about this a lot. We pretty much have ended what we commonly refer to as law firm 2.0, right? This era of we're going to start using automation. We're using technology to keep track of cases. We'll start docu-signing stuff. We'll take depositions over Zoom, right? That, I believe, is an intermediary between where we were 20 years ago and where we are now. We talked about AI, we're entering a time where law firms are going to change significantly. Let's put AI and technology to the side. Let's talk about some of the other changes that you are seeing now within the legal space. Where are law firms going, specifically plaintiffs' law firms? How are they changing? As a law firm owner of a firm that's only a few years old, what are some of the things that you are seeing now that even 2 or 3 years ago were not a part of your everyday business?
I think COVID changed everything. That was, you can draw the line right at COVID because we all went remote then. Everybody.
Forced to go remote.
So then you had people who got used to working remotely. And when people don't want to go back to the office now. You see office space being empty and you can accomplish just as much at home as you can in the office. I miss the camaraderie of the office.
Me too.
But yeah, that's a huge part or big part. But now you have the option, you can hire a lot more people if you give them the option of at least partial remote work. So you have that. You have people who can work I have a Arizona law firm, but I can have a lawyer in St. Louis if I want, because you can Zoom every day. Courts are now doing conferences by Zoom. So it's changing. I used to take the subway out to Queens or,
right.
That there was no remote or no dial-in, no anything like that. You had to show up. Now, the courts are giving me the option to appear, virtually. We're doing mediations virtually.
Given that option, right? The court says you can show up virtually or you could show up in person. Do you lean towards one or the other?
The first couple of times I want to be there in person. I want the judge to meet me, to know me and get a sense of my personality. After that, I can do remote. But first time, first, second, even third time, I want to be in the courtroom. I want the judge to get to know me.
What are some of the things that what are the advantages of you being physically in the courtroom versus you being remote?
The judge can see body gestures, facial remarks. You get a feel for the courtroom, the court officer, the court clerk. You just get all that from the judge. You can see the judge's reactions live, and you don't. Because most of the time you don't see all the faces. So just being there, it's, would you rather go on a real date or, a virtual date?
So much of the communication is like not just verbal.
It's nonverbal. Yeah. It's like the Seinfeld episode. Kramer said, I'm not talking anymore. I don't need to talk. And he goes through all the body gestures and all that. But yeah, I like the court to get a sense of who I am and vice versa. I want to get a sense of what the judge is.
Favorite Seinfeld episode?
It's not the contest. I'm pretty sure it's the marine biologist.
Is that the one where he hits golf balls in the ocean and then he pulls it out? Oh, the whale?
Yeah, the sea was angry that day, my friends. And if you know the backstory, they gave Jason Alexander that like an hour before it was going to be shot. And they were waiting on permission from Titleist to use their name. And they finally got Titleist to agree. So that's when Kramer says, is that a Titleist? So that's probably my favorite one.
Very interesting. I thought you would go with Chinese restaurant.
That's one of the first ones. Yeah, that kind of set the stage for the whole show. But I just love that marine biologist one.
Yeah, I also like Parking Lot. That one is very good as well.
Yeah, there's so many good ones. It's is right up there.
Yeah.
Yep.
Cut that out. Edit that out.
That's a cultural reference that anyone that's like under 30 just doesn't know.
Right. Exactly.
What should we ask you about that we haven't asked you about that you think would be important for people to know?
Well, if you're looking to build your practice, talk to these two guys. Talk to John and Mark. There's really nobody better. I love these guys. Now, these guys are the best. John is a legend. Mark is the legend behind the legend.
I'll take that. That's what I like to do, sit in the shadows.
Yeah, these guys are great. So that's my advice.
Well, thank you, Rick. We've known you for years, both professionally, personally, incredible person. If you don't know Rick, now's the time to get to know Rick. He's great guy, great lawyer.
And if you want to reach out, what is it? Is it
rmeadow@meadowlawfirm.com.
Boom, that's it. Thanks for having us.
Thank you for having me, guys.
Awesome.